Uh, Hello. We are back once again with another Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight match. Today it's going to be between LeoKeidran and MatosMachine. And yeah, sorry for the delay. It took a little bit longer to set up, but it should be fine now. We are just about to start, and we should be able to go.
Yes, hello, I'm here too. My name's Double Double.
Yes, and I forgot to introduce myself. I am DreamFox. It has been a little more hectic than usual to set up this, but now everything is fine, and we are about to get some epic Momo gaming.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we are having a little tournament in the Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight community. It's a double elimination tournament, and we're just still at the beginning of the tournament, so we have lots of exciting matches ahead of us. Each match will be a best of 3 format, so at the very least we will get 2 rounds here today. And I believe that MatosMachine is a runner who mostly runs the low percent category in this game, where we do not, pick up any power-ups or whatever. And I believe as a handicap that MatosMachine is running low percent strats here, even though this is a any percent tournament.
Indeed, but low percent is a valid any percent run. It fulfills the conditions set by any percent.
It sure does.
Which, yeah, which is beat the game with no additional restrictions. Although we do have the rule set in place of the legacy route, as we call it, which involves there's basically 3 routes. There's legacy, no major skips, and unrestricted. Unrestricted allows anything and everything, including using the pause menu to clip through doors and also doing shenanigans with screen entrances. But we're doing legacy, which does not see the use of either of those. And on top of that, there's also the requirements for getting the true ending of this game. Those are the only real requirements of the any percent legacy run that we're doing here.
Yeah, and this.
All right, so here you see the main route difference already. Because Matos is doing the low percent route, he did not pick up the chest with the 20 money in it, the stars that are the money, which you see. And the reason Leo picks them up, despite them being optional, is because the normal route that is not low percent, Leo will be buying an item in a bit, and he's going to need 80 money for that. But since Matos is doing low percent, can skip it.
Yeah, there is nothing story gated or whatever that you need to buy in this game. So anything you buy with money is purely optional. And it just so happens that there are some very convenient chests we can pick up in this first area and then buy a useful item right after the first boss, which is very nice for the.
Yep. Here's the final chest that Leo picks up. Now here's 89. There's some variance with these things of money you pick up from enemies along the way. Now Leo has to hurry up because he's about to be poisoned to death. Yeah, the poison clouds for the enemy attacks can poison you. It drains your health slowly. But yeah, Leo made it to the save bell in time before he died.
Let's see. Leo is not going for the quick kill. There is a strat where you bait out an attack from Edea, where she will attack you, lunge at you with her pearl, and if you release fully charged arrows at a specific positioning and a specific frame timing, then she will just instantly die. MatosMachine did that beautifully. LeoKeidran did a very nice fight without quick kill.
Yeah, exactly. Leo is actually hitting the Pearl during Adea's attacks, which does major damage as it is the weak point.
Yeah, we will see Leo here. After picking up the save bell, we'll talk to the merchant here and buy the crystal seed. But
So
we
yeah,
also saw Leo pick up an item after defeating Edea. If you beat a boss in this game without taking any damage, you will get a special boss item. The boss item from Edea is a pearl that gives you those poison cloud effects to your arrows. So wherever the arrows hit, they will spawn a little poison cloud. You can poison yourself, so you have to be careful about that in boss fights. And then the item that was bought, the crystal seed, is an active item, which means that it has a set amount of charges, and after it has been used, you have to go back to a save bell in order to refresh those charges. And what it does is increase your damage for a short duration.
yep. The crystal seed improves the damage of your physical attacks, so the bow and the melee attack, by 50% for the duration of it. Now, the interesting thing about the different routes that we're seeing here is that, as Leo takes an unfortunate death.
Yeah, Mocha can be a bully. That is something that is known about Mocha. Can jump around quite unpredictably. And so it is one of the early hurdles of learning the run, definitely. Okay,
and as mentioned before, the boss items that we get, you have to do the boss damageless, or to be more precise, have to beat the boss without your health changing. If you heal and take no damage, you still don't get the item. There just needs to be no health change whatsoever.
They did patch that, I think, in if it was 1.06 or 1.07. So
it may have been patched in later versions, yeah.
Yeah, it was patched. So if you're running on the latest version, you can heal during a boss fight, just not take damage.
Yeah, the two main versions used for speedrunning any percent are the whatever the latest patch is, for convenience sake, which is currently 1.07, and then the dedicated patch used for any percent running, which is 1.05b. And yeah, that version definitely has it that even if you heal and take no damage, you don't get the boss item. Leo playing it very safe here by just holding out the arrow until the poison status wears off, and then uses the arrow again to re-inflict it.
And the area MatosMachine is now has a lot of underwater movement. While you are like swimming, you are a lot slower, but and you can jump infinitely. But the roll is basically the same speed as if you are on land. So you want to maximize the amount of time you spend rolling here, because the swimming movement is very slow comparatively. And this area is one of the can be quite tricky, because on certain screens, bats spawn on the opposite end of the screen at a random height. So if you are unlucky, they will be directly in your path as you try to make your way through some of the rooms. And if you are lucky, they will just be completely out of the way and won't bother you at all.
Yeah, they will be the bane of your existence in run any run or playthrough on the insane difficulty, the secret unlockable difficulty you get for beating hard, where it's the same difficulty as hard, except you start out with 1 max health. And in a speedrun, especially any percent, you try to go fast, or you don't bother picking up vitality fragments, the item in this game that lets you extend your health, so you will literally play the entire game with 1 health.
Yeah, it is a very fun category to speedrun on insane difficulty. And here we have MatosMachine fighting against Frida. And because Matos is doing a low percent route, he doesn't need to avoid damage from bosses and can tank a few hits, which
Yeah,
makes some bosses like they are going to be slower, but a little bit more consistent, maybe, because you can take a hit and that's not
and
a reset.
that's the trade-off with it. That's the trade-off with it is you don't have the powerful items because the damageless items are uh, are so powerful that yeah we bother to get them in regular any percent runs.
Yeah, and another thing with these boss items is that they lead from one to another very well. Like you get the first boss item, it makes the next boss fight easier, and then you use that item to get another boss item, and just goes from there, like in a nice like domino pattern or something. Like each item makes the next item easier to get and the boss fight faster, so it's just
Yeah,
a very convenient setup.
since this is a Metroidvania, uh, you might be expecting there's like different possibilities with boss routes and whatnot, but no, as it turns out with this game, we have a pretty set route that everyone uses for like bosses and general game progression.
Yeah. And
Also,
unfortunately, Leo poisoned himself during that boss fight by shooting an arrow behind him into the wall and spawning that poison cloud we mentioned earlier. And
yeah,
decided to reset in order to get the boss item.
that's the tricky part with Frida is not shooting the wrong way because sitting in the corner and spamming arrows is the safe way, the safer and more consistent method of doing a Dea, and it looked like Matos took a death there, but no, that's actually part of the story for beating Lubella the second time round.
Yeah, after beating Lubella the second time around, you become a cat. As a cat, you are smaller, you are faster, you jump higher, and most importantly, you are cuter because you are a cat. And also, as a cat, you can't use your bow, even though it would have been very cute to see a cat use a little bow. And you can't use any items or climb ladders, except for the item that Matos just picked up right here, the cat sphere. It is an item which allows you to transform between human and cat form, and it is required to beat the game, so it is one of the few items that is picked up in low percent.
Yeah, the item by itself is not technically required, but the areas that you need the cat form for are. So it is by extension required to get the cat sphere.
Indeed.
And yeah, because of that, that is the more or less the one of two items that is allowed in low percent, because it's low percent and not 0%. What you occasionally see during the boss fight is you see a cute little fairy appear around the player character, and then blue rays just come down from the sky. There's a special room in this game that tells you about a special input combination you can do consisting of up, up, down, down, left, right. No, up, up, down, down, left, right, left, right. Which you may recognize as the directional input for the Konami code. And if you think that's a coincidence, no, it isn't, because the fairy itself is literally called Konami with the C.
Yeah, now so what is the goal for the players current in the game? So overall, the players want to get in contact with the queen because there's a corruption spreading throughout these lands. And getting here to Karst City, where the queen lives, you realize, oh, the way to the castle is blocked. I need to gather the 4 Karst Crest fragments. And Frida was the guardian of one of those fragments, and getting the cat sphere, or the cat form, is the requirement for getting the second fragment that we pick up in the round. We pick up this fragment as soon as possible because it gives us the power to warp between certain save bells, or rather specifically 2 certain save bells. And that reduces the amount of backtracking that needs to be done by a lot and speeds up the realm significantly.
So yeah, we basically do anything we can that doesn't need us to backtrack, and then once the backtracking becomes required, that's when we go and get the warp fragment. And there's 4 fragments, the 4 fragments throughout the world to collect. And when we collect all 4, you get access to the Royal Pinacotheca, which is where there's a special item that is required for the true ending.
Unfortunately, Leo died to the refight against Lubella. This is a tricky fight.
It is a tricky fight. It is, even though it's the only fight besides the final boss that you don't have to do damageless, even when you do an items route. That does not make this fight any easier.
Yeah, it is the...
Because on normal difficulty with no health extensions, you generally die in 2 hits anyway.
Yeah, and it's very easy to poison yourself during that fight. The arena is pretty small, and you kind of want to stay in the middle. So it is a dangerous fight. And Leo beats it this time, and also makes it to the cat form.
Yeah, the strat for this fight is actually pretty interesting. It involves a little bit of an exploit of using the crystal seed first and then hitting the save bell. Because the save bell is so close to the fight, you can use the crystal seed, then and then hit the save bell again to recharge the uses of it, the one use it has, and recharge the one use it has, and then go into the fight with like half of the duration left and start that. And then later on, you have another use of the crystal seed left over.
Yeah.
So it's a good like clever use of intended game mechanics.
Indeed. MatosMachine is at the next boss fight here, Heretical Arsonist. Usually in a low percent run, you would skip this fight because there is a little glitch where you can clip through certain walls on the right side of the screen, and it is possible to do it here in this fight. But because this is still within the any percent legacy rule set, that skip is not allowed, so MatosMachine had to fight Arsonist as intended. So yeah, the items that have been picked up by Leo so far. First it was the Crystal Seed and Edia's Pearl. Then after defeating Lubella the first time, you get the Bachman Patch, which spawns several blocks falling from the top of the screen. Each one does a little bit of damage. It's a nice little damaging item. And then from Frida, you get the Sparse Thread.
Yeah, the individual blocks themselves don't do too much damage, but as you have seen them raining down, there's a lot of them, and that adds up.
Yeah, and then the Sparse Thread from Frida, which, as shown here, does a nice chunk, just a chunky explosion of damage.
Which it's a big burst around yourself. Knight. And yeah, the knight here, on Matos' side, you can see the fight being done proper with just melee attacks, and that's what you do with items. You sparse thread them.
And
definitely an easier mid boss than the one later on at the end of the game.
Yeah, MatosMachine is now approaching one of the fan favorite bosses of this game. Yeah, Fennel.
Yeah, Pardoner Fennel.
This fight is really fun on low percent. It turns into a very entertaining dance. And it has one of the best soundtracks of the game as well, which we can't hear right now, but we will hear a bit of it when Leo gets there.
Yeah, there's the uses of the fairy as well. So you can see the attacks that Fennel has. She can dash in, she can jump attack, summon lightning.
Oh, and that was a close finish there. A good fight against Fennel. Fighting Fennel with low percent strats is really fun, but also very difficult. So that was a very nicely done fight. And that means that MatosMachine now has all of the 4 fragments. The first one was guarded by Frida, which speeds up the rate at which your arrows charge up.
Yeah, it increases the charge speed of the arrows. The second fragment you pick up is from the arsonist. No, hang on.
Yeah, the second is the warp one.
Yeah, the second is the warp one. I'm mixing my things up. But yeah, that's the you just go and visit the frozen area and just swoop in and swoop out essentially, since the area is pretty. The area itself is just short. There's a couple rooms. There's no boss. Yeah, then the third one is the warp fragment, the fragment for. Then you get after beating arsonist, which lets you dash in midair. So it's a very. In the speedrun, we love things that make us go fast. So.
Yeah, it's very handy to go fast. It also helps in dodging attacks as well. It's just a very nice option to have all around. And then the final fragment is after beating partner Fennel, and it allows you to charge your arrows even further than you could and get another level of charge. And that attack, when you have max charged arrows, is devastating in the latest patch. The damage of that attack got increased significantly, and just makes it these melt bosses. And here we have Matos fighting one of the most difficult bosses to fight. It is Lupiar and Magnolia. Lupiar here in the first phase is a boss that you cannot use arrows on. So you have either you have to use items, or as Matos is doing now, go in and do melee hits.
Yeah, and even in the with items run this is still a really tricky fight, because if you're doing items, you have to avoid getting hit, because you need the boss item from this. If you're doing items, then you want the heavy arrows that you get for doing this fight damageless.
And what Matos is doing a very nice low percent fight there. So yeah, the trickiness of that fight is partly that you cannot use arrows, so you cannot just be safe and stand in a corner. And then staggering that boss is not super easy. You have to hit her multiple times before she gets staggered, and her attacks are very fast, so just trying to do that fight without any damage increases like that is quite difficult, but also very satisfying when you manage to pull it off.
Yeah, when fighting Lupiar head on and going for the staggers, you need to know what you're doing. That is a fight that if you play that fight for the first time, that will take some learning.
And here we have Leo fighting Fennel and just destroying her with items. That is how most bosses will go when in the any percent routes, or in routes where you have items. What MatosMachine just did was use the fairy, like the Konami fairy, to hit a switch off screen, and that switch unlocks a shortcut to the rest of the to the later parts of the castle, which is just a very convenient thing that you can do. You usually use the Bachmann patch to hit it.
That is what Leo will be doing. We'll use the Bachmann patch, but since it's low percent, no Bachmann patch to use. So the fairy is the only way to hit it the cheap way, the fast way.
And MatosMachine took a little detour by using the sealed wind that is picked up in the Royal Pinacoteca. Leo will pick it up shortly, and dipping it in some nice water, which upgrades it from a red leaf to a green leaf. And the green leaf gives you more damage and also unlocks this true ending of the game.
Yeah, having the upgraded fresh spring leaf. Yeah, it'll allow you to fight the third and final phase of the final boss, and that is what gives you the true ending.
MatosMachine is approaching the end of the game here. There is one mini boss left, a few platforming rooms.
Karst Castle is the final area. Yeah, here we're gonna see the other main mid-boss that you'll fight here. So a boss that you fight, but there's no health bar and stuff like with proper bosses. This is the Clone Angel. Unintended tell for which is the real one is lower.
Yeah, the true Clone Angel, the one that you want to hit, she hovers slightly closer to the ground for some reason, which makes it a lot easier to tell which is the real one. You are supposed to look at the attacks they do, because the true Clone Angel will have attacks that are flashing white and blue, while the fake ones just glow white.
No, the real one has a red glow. The real one has a red glow. The real one has a red glow when the attack comes out, while the fake ones have white.
And Leo does the first phase of Lupia and Magnolia well. Had to wait a little bit. Oh, gets hit on the Magnolia fight. Magnolia can be a little bit tricky.
Yeah, didn't anticipate the teleport. Didn't get out of the spot because when Magnolia disappears and then reappears, she reappears on top of you.
Yeah, and if she disappears by throwing out those big orbs that she did, it can be tricky to know where to dodge to, because if you try to dodge,
you don't want to jump straight into the ball, the white ball attack, because then you take damage anyway.
Yeah. And now MatosMachine is in the final fight against the Queen. This is going to be a 3-phase fight, and with no items. Yeah, with no items, this is going to be... It's going to take a little time and be a little test of endurance. And Leo gets Lupia and Magnolia on the second attempt. That's very nice. Gets the heavy arrows. That is an item that doubles the damage of your arrows. So you have heavy arrows. You have.
Pay attention when Leo gets to the Queen fight, because it will be. Yeah, you'll see how much the heavy arrows are gonna melt the HP bar.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Matos getting ready for this final phase here.
Yeah, the final phase of low percent Queen, or rather, the final phase of Queen is always it's a set fight of it's the same attacks that happen in a set order and then repeating. So you always know what is going to happen in this fight, and you always know what is coming up next. The first and the second phase, they start each phase with the same attack, like always the same attack, but then the rest are random. And that's a GG for Matos, a 26-29, which is apparently a PB. Well, it is very nice.
Just casually PBing in low percent, no big deal.
That is a very solid low percent run.
Yeah, 26, and yeah, like the items is definitely faster. So yeah, we mentioned it. We mentioned it at the start of Matos doing sort of a handicap by doing the low percent route. But in the end. In the end, it's all fun and games, right?
Yeah, this tournament is for fun, and Matos asked beforehand if it was okay to do this, so there is no disrespect going on here. It is a fun game to play, and we're having a fun tournament here. It's not like there are any $1 million prizes or anything, so it's not too serious. it's just I'm just very happy that this tournament is happening again because I hadn't played or speedrun this game in a while, and it's just so fun to get back into it every time I find an excuse to do it.
I want. I'm just sitting here wanted to take credit for this tournament being a thing. Because I know I was one of the people that a couple months ago, or like at the start of this year, I think, or when I was like, when I had first learned this game and was doing my first like proper grind for the first couple months, was asking around for a tournament. And then other people started entertaining the idea, and now we're here.
Yeah, we have had 2 tournaments in the past, and there has been talk about doing another tournament for a while, but there weren't really enough interested people. But yeah, when you came into the community, and at the roughly around the same time, there were other people joining as well. So with all of that together, there was the perfect blend of situations to allow this tournament to happen again.
Yeah, like Leo, who we have in this match right now, it's a good friend of mine, and yeah, basically he got interested in picking up the speed run from seeing me do it, and it's like, you know, like inspiring each other to do things.
And here we will see the damage numbers. Just look here at the. There are just so many.
That was what, 2/3 health, and then the arrows took away, and then look at this. Like, that's more than half gone of phase 2, and then 2 sparse threads, and you're done with phase 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, one item that was used that we didn't talk about yet is the Tainted Missive, which is the Damage boss item for Fennel. It's a better item than the Crystal Seed because it does the same thing as the Crystal Seed, but it boosts the physical damage by 100% as opposed to the 50. The trade-off, however, and it has the and it has 2 uses versus the one for the Crystal Seed. The trade-off, however, is that it costs 25% max HP to use, which also plays into the part of the routing of doing the Fennel fragment last. Just kind of delay getting the Tainted Missive as much as possible, because yeah, for most bosses you need to do damageless. You can't exactly use an item that does damage to you. But yeah, in the Clone Angel you can use it because that's a mid boss, and then in the final fight here, where Leo finishes it off, because it's the final boss. Run's done after this. There's no damage item to get. And yeah, Leo finishing as well, 30-13. Solid run, actually.
Yeah, that's close to his PB, right? Or?
Yeah, it's like less than 4 minutes, I'm pretty sure.
Alright, okay. I did not
know it's close to like the times I got during my match as well.
Yeah. Yeah, 26-29, low percent run, that's very good. 30-13, that's also a solid time. And that means that MatosMachine takes home round 1 here. And as I said earlier, this is a best of 3, so we will at the very least get 1 more round here in a bit.
Yeah, gonna swiftly, as speedrunners do, move on over to game 2.
Yeah, this little break here is a good time to, take a little break, stretch a little bit, get a hot beverage if you haven't already.
Stay hydrated. We do love reminding people to stay hydrated. And yeah, game 2, and perhaps even a game 3. Who knows? It could happen. So stick around, because there's a lot more epic Momo gaming to come.
Yeah, and if these races aren't enough, later today, let's see, what time EDT is it? there is another Momo match later today. It is 4:30 p.m. EDT on the third Speed Gaming channel. There will be another Momodora race
Yeah.
if
The
this
the
isn't
first
enough.
Yeah, the first winners round 2 match, or the first round 2 match of the upper bracket, Dorothy versus Dreamfox.
Hey, that's me.
Indeed. And yeah, this is this is a 16-player tournament, and Dreamfox over here is the third seed coming into this, and while Dorothy is the number 6 seed. So 2 high-ranking players here that are gonna be going up against each other. It will for sure be a for sure be a good match to watch. So if you're sticking around later today, keep an eye out. Follow the Speed Gaming 3 channels. Follow all the Speed Gaming channels, and just keep an eye on your following list.
The second race is going to start really soon, and the racers are ready, and they are just about to begin.
Yep. Setup. Initial setup took a bit, so we're making up time here. We're just getting game 2 underway pretty much immediately.
We have briefly mentioned the different difficulty, or at least normal and insane difficulty of this game. There are easy, normal, hard, and insane. For each difficulty, you get less starting health, and then easy and normal has the normal amount of enemies, and then hard and insane has more enemies than easy and normal. And those are the major difficulty differences in this game. Bosses are the same, damage numbers are the same, it's just how much health you have and how many enemies there are that are the main differences.
Yeah. When you're playing casually, there are still a bunch of helpful items you can get to make sure you don't die. There's the items that the runners are passing right now, which is the bellflower. There's many of them throughout the land of Karst, which is where this takes place.
Yeah, and
for each bellflower you find, you get a usage of it. You get a usage of the bellflower to restore some health, and then there's the collectibles of vitality fragments, which are health extensions.
Indeed. So yeah, the bellflower is basically an Estus flask, if you are familiar with Dark Souls. And that design, choice of having active items have charges that refresh every time you go to a save bell is a design choice I really like, because that means that you can actually use your items without being scared that they will run out like consumables in a lot of other games.
Or consumables, or you don't have every item be used from the same resource pool, like your RPGs with mana and stuff like that.
And yeah, MatosMachine will have a slightly faster route here through the grove, because he does not need...
Yeah, missed the platform cycle, unfortunately, but semi-cycle is still alright. I know it
Same for
equalizes
Leo.
because Leo missed it too.
Yeah. Uh, this area in particular is really difficult when playing on uh, Insane because the imps, they are quite random in how they behave. So there is not like one simple strat that you can follow every single time. Oh, is Leo going to make it to the save? Just me.
He
That
made it!
okay, I have not seen that happen before.
And then still...
Yeah, gets the save.
Yeah, that's a new one.
That's a new one to me. I have
And the
seen
funny...
double KOs in boss fights, but I haven't
Yeah,
seen double KO at a bell.
I was about to say... the... Like, in the Momodora Discord, Leo showed us a clip earlier today of getting a double KO on the final boss. So much so that even the auto splitter split because it detected that the queen was dead, except Leo also died. Which was already pretty amusing, but now he's added this to the pile.
Yeah, there have already been several rare happenings in this tournament. There was another match where Frida died while she was off screen, which is not something that happens often. And I don't
Oh yeah,
remember what else happened.
I've had it happen before where Frida dies to the poison damage mid teleport, and it spawns the boss item because I did do a damage list. It spawned the boss item in pretty much a random place.
Yeah, it
So I had to be
spawns it.
careful. I had to be careful to spot it and pick it up, and not go off screen, because that's also a thing. If a damaged boss item spawns and you leave the screen, when you come back, the item's gone.
Yeah, you
So-
only have one chance to pick it up.
Yeah,
And-
make sure you pick up items before you leave the screen.
Leo gets hit by Mocha right as he enters the boss fight. Mocha is a little bully. Mocha basically behaves like an imp and jumps around very erratically. So just trying to control that is a struggle.
Yeah, exactly. My strategy is usually involves keeping a lot of distance from Mocha and just shooting arrows a bunch, just because I'm scared to go up the melee range because of the random movement. And in fact, when Momo starts frantically jumping towards me, I just melee hit to get him off of me like I'm swanning away a fly.
That is pretty accurate. Mocha is basically a little fly. That's a new one, but also very accurate.
Yeah, the main difference is, first of all, the melee attack does more damage than the bow. So by default, meleeing is stronger and therefore faster, but it's also more risky because you're, in melee range. On top of that, so you're in melee range, and if you're mixing arrows into it to get the poison, then you also have the poison cloud to deal with.
Yeah, avoid not poisoning yourself is definitely one of the first struggles when learning bosses in this run. Another thing that makes melee powerful is that while you're doing melee attacks, you can charge up your arrows in order to release a powerful bow attack once it is ready, and then do melee attacks in between to keep the damage up.
Yeah, there's 4 components to bow charges. 3 of them are available immediately, and then the 4th is the one you unlock from defeating Fennel, the fragment you pick up in the room behind her. The first charge is just spamming the button, which is what you mainly do before you get the faster charge. Before you get the faster charge, spamming arrows is the best DPS of the bow. Then you've got half charges, which is you start charging the bow, so you get the yellow particles to appear, and then you let go before the bow is fully charged, and you start glowing red. That's what's called a half charge, and once you pick up the faster bow charge, that's when half charges become faster.
Indeed. And after you pick up the fast charge fragment after defeating Frida, it also lines up so that you can do one set of like 3 melee hits. That's your full melee combo. And after that, release your arrows and they will be fully charged, which is just a very convenient little result there.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of tech as well with mixing your attacks. You need to also release your arrows at the right time, because if you have fully charged arrows and you let go of the button during a melee attack, the charge will just go away and the arrows don't fire. Like, you need to make sure that you're not in an attack animation. You're not in an attack animation while releasing the arrow button. Now, one thing is, most runners use a certain control style. First of all, most runners use controller for this game. But on top of that, there's 2 control sets you can do, controller and controller alt. The only difference between them is swapping the arrow, the ranged attack, and the roll button. Most runners will use the alt control style. I forget which is which, but most users use the control style where roll is on a face button, because it's next to the jump button.
That's the standard control scheme.
That's the standard one, and the reason for that, the reason for that is that you want the roll and jump buttons next to each other, so it's easier to press them together. Because one piece of movement tech you can do is rolling and jumping on the same frame, which does both. You get the roll, but you also jump into the air at the same time, and we appropriately call it a roll jump.
Yeah, so you get the speed from a roll, the invulnerability frames from a roll, and you can pass through enemies, but you also get the height and mobility from a jump. So it's very convenient in specific spots.
Yeah, particularly when there's a ledge that's like 1 or 2 tiles high.
Leo getting revenge against Frida. Frida behaves this time. No arrows inside the wall that poisons. And no poisoning himself, so a clean Frida fight to get the sparse thread.
Yep, followed by the crash fragment. Also, yeah, the menu iteming. I just said menu iteming.
Yes, the menu item. There's not a lot of menuing in this game, but there is a bit of it still, and you can save quite a bit of time by learning how to do the menu iteming properly. It is very satisfying when you get it down, once you learn it. And there are some really neat like menuing inputs in certain situations where it's like, oh, you equip this item, then you press up, then you equip the next item, then you press up, you equip the third item, then you press down, and then you equip the 4th item. It just flows really well.
Yeah, like the menuing is pretty smooth. There's no like delay on things. Delay on like options you can highlight or buttons you can press. The game lets you do the menuing as fast as you can do it.
Yeah, it's a very responsive menu, which is very nice. And if you don't like menuing at all, then you can just do low percent, because it has the bare minimum of menuing needed for the run, because you don't swap out items and stuff. You just equip specific items that are needed, and then you teleport a few times, and that's it.
Also, yeah, on Leo's screen, here's the irony of hitting Lubella with her own item.
Indeed, you do get
Lubella with the Bachman patch.
You do get that from
the
fighting
attacks,
her the first time.
Yeah, and in the first fight, Lubella tells you that she doesn't have time to deal with you and she was taking it easy on you in the first fight, and that's kind of true, because in this second fight, she does the same attacks as she normally does. She does in the first fight, just except souped up. Like the balls that come raining down, she does 3 of them. When she spawns circles on the floor and then balls come up, that she does that 3 times. She likes diving a lot more, which is the absolute worst.
So one little piece of tech or routing that we do here after Lubella is going into the monastery there that Matos just visited and then leaving immediately. That is because in order to teleport to a save point, you have to have been in that same room. So what we do is we enter that room that has the save bell and then go pick up the warp fragment so that we can teleport back to that very save bell.
Yeah, and it is that simple. You only need to have been in the room. You don't need to hit the save point. You don't need to have been there for a certain amount of time. It's just pop in and pop out.
Yeah, you don't even need to see the save bell. You just have to be in the same room.
Exactly. The only requirement for it is that the room you have to be in, you do have to enter the room where the warp point is. Each area has a specific save bell you warp to. And that's the room that save bell is in is the room you have to enter to unlock it as a warp location. And the monastery is very important. You may have noticed during the previous game that the runners were teleporting to the monastery a lot. It's a very central point and very helpful for where you need to go. Because we pop in to set it to get it available as a warp point, then we get the warp fragment. Then you warp the monastery to go to the Cinder Chambers to fight Arsonist. Then you warp back there to go to Cotiar to get the monastery key, which you use to access the area where you fight Fennel. And then when you get that monastery key, warping back, even though it's a short distance away, warping back is still faster than traveling back all the way.
Yeah, and then there's one final time you warp back to the monastery. That is after defeating Lupiar and Magnolia, and you go to upgrade your red leaf to a fresh spring leaf. So yeah, that warp is very central to the route. We use it 4 times in the run, and it definitely reduces backtracking by a lot.
Well, not necessarily after beating Lupiar and Magnolia. First you travel through Karst Castle to get to the off-screen switch we mentioned that in low percent you hit with the fairy, and with items you hit it with the Bachman patch. You go and do that, and then you teleport to the monastery to actually upgrade the leaf. One tricky part of it is that you can sometimes accidentally warp to the monastery for the few times you don't. Like after you pick up the final fragment from Fennel, you're meant to warp to Karst City, and I've warped to monastery more than once.
Oh yeah, warping to the wrong place.
And then after you've upgraded the leaf, you go and upgrade. You then teleport. You warp back to Karst Castle, because the off-screen switch you hit to open up the ladder in that room, that it also happens to be the room you warp to in Karst Castle. So it's nice little bit of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Alright, so minor speed detail about Arsonist here is what Matos just did is actually perfect. You want the fight, end the fight as close to the right as possible, because that's where you want to go next. But you also want this lovely female companion, Kath, close to you, because once the fight ends, Kath will physically walk to you from wherever she is when the fight ends. So the further away she is, the more time she takes to walk to you. So yeah, the key components for a good end of an Arsonist fight is close to the right of the screen and have Kath next to you.
Indeed. You want the item drop to be close to you, you want to be close to the exit of the room, and you want the NPC that wants to talk to you to be close to you. So manipulating that, however, and setting it up is tricky, because Arsonist has quite a lot of health. And as you can see on Leo's screen, there is like a little ceiling over the exit to the right, and you can quite easily get trapped in that little corner. So you don't want to go there too early.
Yeah, that's why
Otherwise,
what Leo's doing now is staying to the left is a lot safer. However, there's the barrels to Leo's left. Yeah, if anything hits them, they can blow up. If Cap smacks them, if the arsonist hits them, or if you hit them, doesn't matter who does it, they blow up. And if you're next to them, you take damage. And if you're going for the items, that means you have to reset the fight. Because yeah, Pocket Incensory, item we completely ignored during the first game, but it's just another nice boss item.
yeah, it adds
to have.
it adds a flat amount of damage to each of your attacks, and it also works with the Bachman patch, which turns the Bachman patch from a nice damaging item to an item that does a lot of damage.
Also, if you look on Mato's screen right now, you can see his skulls around Kaho, which is the character you're playing as well as you can see the cat sphere on the top left of the screen being crossed out. Besides Cursed, there's also this as a status condition you can have, Cursed, which disables the use of your items. But, you know, in low percent, you don't have items to be disabled from using, aside from, in this case, the cat sphere. But, you know, we can just do human movement. Because that's another interesting thing about the movement tech for this game, is that there's different movement tech between human and cat forms. In human, you just want to roll everywhere. Whereas with the cat, rolling is actually slow, because there's a considerable slowdown at the end of the roll. However, you can cancel the roll with an attack, but if you do that on the ground, then the attack will stop you in place. So the absolute optimal movement you can do as a cat is roll jump and then attack in midair to cancel the slowdown. But yeah, that's high level tech.
Oh, Leo got hit right at the end of panel and misses out on the Tainted Missive. Decides to reset. Which I think is a smart idea, because if you have practiced to run with boss items, then not having a specific boss item will just make the upcoming bosses a lot harder. And trying to improvise a boss strat can be very tricky.
Yeah. Yeah. Something that may have gone on the radar during game 1, but is that Leo actually got poisoned during the Lupiar Magnolia fight after Leo finished the fight. Fortunately, that doesn't matter, and you just need to, as long as there's a boss health bar on screen, that's when you need to be damaged. Once the health bar is gone because it's empty, you can take however much damage you want.
Yeah, it's even
and
like,
you'll get because Leo got the heavy arrows from it.
Yeah, and
I've had that happen before as well, where I got poisoned after ending the fight, and I still got the heavy arrows.
Yeah, even here during the Lupiar and Magnolia fight, like, it is a two-phase fight, and after you defeat Lupiar before Magnolia spawns, there is no boss health bar on screen. So you could use your Tainted Missive there in order to get the damage buff for the second phase, and still get the boss item. Matos having a really nice fight against Lupiar, getting low on health, who almost gets stuck in the corner.
Yeah, playing it safe here.
Yeah, there are a few attacks that you can safely punish from Lupiar. One of them being the uppercut, and the other being the little slam down. If she just does her like forward lunge, that is not an invitation to punish her, because she will do an attack shortly after. Oh, LeoKeidran.
Ooh, missed the jump and
lands on spikes. Spikes in this game, they are an instant kill for all intents and purposes. They do something obscene, like 1,000 damage, and you have, like, the maximum health you can have is 80. So they do kill you.
And 80 is like what, on easy difficulty with all vitality fragments?
Something like that, yeah. In older patches, I believe you started with max health on easy. but I think that was changed in 1.07 so that you could actually have a use for the vitality fragments.
Yeah, other than 100%ing the game.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, there's no 100% category for this game, at least not on the leaderboards, since
I mean, we do have AVIB, which is sort of a 100% category, where
yeah,
you do pick
AVIP,
up
AVIP is the speedrunner defined completionist category. Getting the V is vitality fragments, the I is ivory bugs, which are another collectible, and then B is all bosses. Because compared to the any percent route, there's one optional boss you don't fight in any percent, and that's why there's an all bosses for AVIP.
Yes, and then there's also an all achievements category, which does include doing all bosses, all ivory bugs, all vitality fragments, but also exploring the entire map. But then it also has things like don't die, don't kill any normal enemies. So it is a...
Yeah, there's pacifist, there's like, yeah, deathless. And yeah, here we see it again on Leo getting poisoned after the fight ends. And as you can see here, heavy arrows still spawned. And yeah, the heavy arrows, we swap it with the Adeus Pearl. Just because the poison damage ain't got nothing on heavy arrows.
Yeah, the heavy arrows combined with the tainted missive, combined with the buffs in the latest patch is what allows the max charged arrows to absolutely melt the queen. Matos is going to the Clone Angel fight, and Leo is not super far behind, making his way through the castle.
Yeah, this is honestly a really good pace run. A few, a death here, a reset there, but it's been very solid. Like, it's pretty unrealistic to expect not to have to reset.
Yeah, get some
like
it can be a bit random.
Yeah, it can happen if you're playing safe enough or if you're just really confident, but when you're in no reset environments like this, you just really have to account for the fact that you may have to reset. That a reset is not unlikely.
Yeah, Matos has been very consistent in these runs. The fact that in low percent, like normal difficulty, that you can take a few hits, and also taking a few hits doesn't mean anything because, you know, you don't need the boss items, you're not going to use them. Which makes it...
getting confirmation in chat that Leo is indeed on a very good run, so... There's not much left. There's Clone Angel, and there's Queen, and then the movement in between. That's all there is. So Leo just needs to keep your wits about you.
Yeah, and the castle area at the end is not a super dangerous area. Comparatively, there are like not a lot of enemies. There are some empty rooms, and it's in my experience, or like I consider it a pretty chill area to platform through, compared to like Pinacoteca or the Grove, which has a lot of enemies everywhere and is very intense. So it is a pretty chill end to the run, which is very nice because once you get here on a good pace and the nerves start kicking in, it is nice that the hardest tricks are not to come in.
Yeah. I do like this strategy that we're seeing on Matos' side is hitting double air melee hits. Leo one hit away from the one cycle on the Clone Angel, because I mentioned earlier about the knight being the easy mid boss fight from it like just dying to straight up to sparse threads. Yeah, this is what I was referring to, the Clone Angel, because you need to hit the sparse thread and then hit with a tainted missive melee attack twice.
And that is GG for Matos at 26:59. Another sub 27. That's a very nice time.
Yeah.
And that means that Matos is the winner of today's match. And
GG, but we're about to see Leo also do something really, really nice. This could be a low 28 or a high 27. Just one fight. That's unfortunate. This can still be a low 28. When reset is fine. Don't worry. Don't worry. So yeah, the reason Leo reset, even though there's no like damage to avoid or whatever, is the attacks of the Queen are damaging enough that getting hit by even a single one, it will put your health too low, and you would kill yourself with the second tainted missive usage. So that's the reason behind resets on Queen.
And that also messes up your strategy, because getting hit resets your bow charge, so you have to start over from the beginning.
That as well. Yeah, getting hit does reset your bow charge, but yeah, here it is. Fairy coming in. There's a couple of hits and bam. 28-26.
That is a solid time.
Yeah, mid 28 is real good. It's better than what I got in my match. Like my best time was 29:40, but it's a very memorable 29:40 for reasons.
Yeah, this is not quite over yet. We will see if we can get any of the racers in for a post-race interview here. See if they have anything to say.
Yeah, that was that's another match wrapped up. And I ain't getting tired of this anytime soon. Which is good news, because we've got plenty to go.
Here we have MatosMachine. Welcome, and GG.
GG.
Yes, congratulations on the victory.
Thanks.
Yeah, so yeah, how did you feel about your rounds? They looked, well, for low percent runs, they looked to be some very good times.
Yeah, so the first run, I felt like I was doing the bosses kind of subpar for my own standards, but you know, for I must have been doing a lot of the platforming good, because every one of those splits was green for me, and so I was just like going into the last fight, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like the fastest I've ever gotten here. So I'm really happy about that first one, and the second one also was really good. I was expecting like 28 minutes. So getting sub 27 on both of them is like a little bit crazy for me.
Oh yeah,
and that's just round one. Like who knows how far you can go with playing like this.
Yeah. I mean, I need to brush up on my any percent. Really, my any percent is a little bit slower because I'm kind of bad at menuing and stuff. But if I can get that like up to this level, I'd be really happy.
Yeah, and you are the only runner with a sub 27-minute time on the low percent leaderboards. So yeah, sub 27 low percent is a really good time.
Yeah.
Do you know if Leo also PB'd? Because I thought he was, because that 28 time was also really good. Like I could have lost to that if I had.
It may not have been. I'm on the timer. I'm seeing blue on the timer, which would indicate a PB, but maybe the comparison isn't quite PB. he may have been a slower comparison, which is something I would recommend as well. It's like if you're in a no recent environment, don't compare to PB. Compare to average. Dang it.
Oh yeah, that is what I did when I de-rusted for this tournament. Is use average segments, and that boosted my confidence a lot.
Oh yeah, same here. I was comparing the average, and I compared the average during warm up for my first round match, and I PB'd, but it was warm up, so I didn't bother to record. So it's
Yeah, that's
like,
really
dang, now I
unlucky.
have a PB I need to beat because no footage.
It's okay, you can do it again. I believe in you. I'm a madman. I compare to the low percent insane still. I just haven't updated it. The one I compare to the world record too, so because that's the one I want to beat really badly that Dream Fox has. I'm eventually gonna get it. It's just insane is so annoying because you make one little mistake and it's just minutes down the drain.
Oh yeah. Insane low percent is a different beast entirely. Especially because you have difficult bosses and you have to do them almost perfectly. And here we have Leo as well. Welcome and GG.
Thanks.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your runs today?
Oh, not great. Even though I
mean-
PB'd, still not great.
Oh, that was a PB. That
Okay, so it was a PB.
congratulations.
Nice. GG
Hey,
still.
You played really well.
Yeah, the sub 30 first one barely over 30 minutes, and then the second one was sub 30, sub 29 even. That is 2 solid times here. Yeah. Oh, there was. Oh yeah, you had the very amusing.
Yeah, the
happening
death
in
on a
his-
save point.
Yeah, in race 2.
That was something special.
Almost perfectly.
Yeah, I
And here we
died
have Leo
from
as
poison
well.
as I hit
Welcome
the
and
bell
GG.
because the poison
Yeah.
took over.
I didn't see it. Did you
How
get
do you
that
feel
save
about
point
your
back?
runs today?
Yeah, no, he
luckily I-
respawned at the save point that he hit, so
I mean,
it did actually
that was a
accurately
PB.
save as well,
Congratulations.
That's good.
which made it all the better.
That would have been
GG still.
tragic. You played really well. If you had to redo all of that.
Yeah, the sub. Yeah, it was. We were scared when we saw you get poisoned there with low health right before the bell, but you had just enough time to get to the bell and hit the save point before dying to the poison. Oh yeah, you had the
Were you
very
aware of like how low on health you were and like rushing to the save bell to make it in
Yeah,
time,
in
or
race
did
two.
you get caught by surprise?
No, I already knew. To be honest, I was sweating bullets as I realized I was low, and I had to get up that ladder without dying. So I just sort of took my chances and ran.
And it worked out
Oh, you made
almost
it
perfectly.
Yeah.
So it did actually accurately save as well,
Oh, that's good.
which made it all the better.
That would have been tragic if it.
Yeah,
if
let's
you had
see.
to redo all
On
of that.
how
Yeah, it
does the
We were scared when we
bracket
saw.
look? What does
when
the
we
bracket
saw you
look
get
like now?
poisoned there
So
with low
this
health right before the
is
bell,
your first
but
loss.
you
That
had
means
just
you are not
enough time
out
to get
yet,
to the
Leo.
bell and
You
hit the
are
save
still
point
in
before
the
dying to the
bracket of
poison.
alternate success.
Were you aware of like how low on health
And
you
there will
were?
be another
That's the
chance
term
for you.
you wanted to go with, right?
That's the term I've been using, yeah.
Surprise?
And yeah, there will be more
Yeah.
matches.
So, yeah.
It is not decided yet who you
And it
will be
worked out
facing
Oh, you
because
made
that
it.
will
No.
be
Matos, Matos will be facing the. So yeah, the next match that will determine your both of your opponents is the matchup between Momoari and Romelia Scarlet. The winner of which will be facing Matos, and the loser will be going up against Leo.
Look like now. So this is
Yeah,
your
and we're gonna have
loss.
to
That
wait a
means
little bit
you
for
are
that
not
one to
out
take
yet,
place
Leo.
because
You are
unfortunately there's
still
some
in
scheduling
the
issues there. So
bracket of alternate
we're
success.
kind of the first ones that have to wait for that, but
And there will
it'll
be
be
another.
be cool when we can find
Yeah,
out.
That's the
through
thing
that.
with the early matches that we've had here is like the people that have done the matches now have to wait on other people. Like I'm also just sitting here waiting to see who I'm facing in my lower bracket match.
All right, you're waiting for this Seb K and Novamaru match, which was supposed to happen 2 days ago, yesterday or something, but had to be rescheduled. But that's fine. It will happen eventually. And yeah, later on today, in 4 hours, there will be a match between me and Dorothy. That will be an interesting match. I don't feel confident, even though I should probably feel more confident than I am.
I think you'll do good. I mean, you did really well on that first match you
Yeah,
had.
yeah, I had my times were surprisingly good. I did not expect them to be as good as they were, and I hope I can pull off the same thing against Dorothy, and then I will definitely have a good chance of winning there. There is also one more match scheduled, and that is on September 12th, 6 p.m. EDT. And
Yep, first lower bracket / last chance saloon / what you call the Dream Fox. I've forgotten already.
bracket of alternate success.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah, we're gonna see Hutsuwa versus Ronwin. Seed numbers 11 and 14. So it's seed numbers are close. So the match should also be.
Yeah, seed numbers are close, and there are a lot of things that can happen in a run if you are unlucky or you make a mistake during a boss fight. So
Can't wait to see Lubella dive 7 times.
Oh yeah, that is something that can happen if you're unlucky. That is true. Yeah, unless anyone has anything else they want to add, I think we are done for, not for today, but for this match in particular, I guess.
I think I'm good. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the match, Leo. It was really fun.
Yeah, GG.
All right. With that, we'll also be taking our leave. Thank you, DreamFox, for joining me on commentary today.
Yeah, thank you, Double, for being here as well. And also thanks Speed Gaming for helping with organizing all of this and providing this venue, I guess, this entire setup. It is very helpful.
A digital venue, you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah. Thanks to Speed Gaming for helping with the tech side of things, and the platform that we've been provided to bring this tournament to you all.
Yeah, and that is it for us. Have a great time, everyone, and we hope to see you next match.
Yep. Goodbye, everybody.